Welcome to the AI Chat podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer, and today on the show, we have the immense pleasure of being joined with William Shields, who is the CEO of an incredible startup, Synthminds.AI. We're going to be diving into everything that he's doing, everything he's working on. This is a really cool startup, and he's got an amazing background. I wanted to give you all a brief bio and background on him. So he is actually he has a background as a U.S. Navy supply officer. He has over 16 years of leadership experience in organizational leadership and supply chain management. And he excels in harnessing AI and data analytics to make, really solid decision making and optimize client outcomes. So he is renowned for his expertise in machine learning, natural language processing, implementing AI-based solutions across a bunch of different business challenges. Welcome to the show today, Wes.
My gosh, Jaden, it's it's an austere pleasure to be here. My mom would probably appreciate that introduction. It was the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
Just clip that out and send that to her. We won't get into the rest. You
No,
don't have to
I'll
send her the rest
appreciate
of
it.
the interview. You'll be good there.
Jaden said I'm a special boy. Exactly.
Hey, well, super excited to have you on. I'm wondering, can you tell everyone, I want to get into your background a little bit, but talk to me a little bit about Synthminds.AI, what
Yeah.
it is, what you guys are building there.
So we're a consortium of AI enthusiasts, and that's really how it began. With ChatGPT coming on the scene last year, having just celebrated an anniversary. It captivated the world, and folks like you and I immediately took interest and just started dreaming up the possibilities. I have to make mention of your podcast, AI Applied with Connor. I talk a lot about in our work about use cases. So as soon as that came out, I'm like, they get it. These guys get it. But anyway, so here at Synthminds, what we kind of do is we're premier integrators of any of these AI tools and technologies. We have some solutions that we have built that help companies get up and running with
Okay.
AIs, particularly generative AI,
Okay.
faster. And then also, we've kind of found ourselves in this niche as AI educators and speakers, because a lot of companies, especially this past year, came out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, I want the AI shiny thing." But what that really translated into is they wanted to understand some of the possibilities. So along those lines, what we did is spun up a whole bunch of educational resources. We have over 20 courses we've developed, 5 of them on the Uplimit platform, which is a platform, adult learning platform founded by some of the original Coursera founders. They're tremendous partners. Basically, what I like to tell people is we're a full service AI agency, and whatever you're thinking about in the realm of AI, we can either build it for you, teach you about it, talk about it, or point you in the right direction.
Super, super cool. That's amazing. Okay, so I gotta ask, right? You're sitting there, you're consulting, you're helping these companies implement AI into their organization. What is like I'm sure there's a lot, but like what is a consistent theme? What's the number one thing that's the most difficult that these companies are struggling with when implementing AI into their corporation, their business, their profession, whatever?
Well, I think one of the kind of downsides folks in our business maybe face is ChatGPT kind of made the world think that there's an easy button with AI. These are probabilistic models. So if you're in a regulated industry, for example, you can't have that drift, that answering questions in a different way each time. It needs to be regimented and controlled and predictable. And as I'm sure you and your audience knows, with AI, especially these large language models, that's not a sure thing. So I think one of the things that has been probably the most difficult to convey to folks is, hey, this is not an easy button. Just because you saw some guy do it on Twitter doesn't mean that we can do this for a few $100 across your 2,000 member organization. And then also too, like, these models are very, very hungry for data. So the quality of the output is definitely benefited and enhanced by the result of some of the input files. So if you're building a RAG stack, retrieval augmented generation, or doing a top layer fine tune, it helps a lot if the company already has a data policy and some processes and controls
Mm.
for how their data exists today. And unfortunately, a lot of companies don't have that. So to be able to truly leverage some of the power and capabilities of AI, they have to start really with getting their arms around their data.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, something I heard about you that I think is very interesting is you have over 400,000 likes on your Flow GPT prompts. Tell everyone about what Flow GPT is, what those prompts are, why that's important. Very interesting. 400,000, that's a lot.
Well, hey, I think one of the things that's really important to us at Synthminds is we want to deliver value kind of across any price point, and even if that's free in a lot of
Yeah.
instances. So FlowGPT is just it's a wrapper. It's an interface that people can use to interact with large language models, plug different
Hmm.
ones in and out, and kind of shop for prompts. There's a few of these other type of platforms like Prompt Base, for example. That's a platform you can go and shop for different prompts. I think, I benefit a little bit from just being consistent and being early on these
Hmm.
platforms, posting a lot, posting regularly, and then having some things catch on. Like I think I have the top selling travel prompt in the world because that's a
Heck
thing,
yeah.
you know.
Well, what is
But
it? What
but
does
now,
it do?
well, back 6, 8 months ago, before anyone really understood anything, it would just pull together an itinerary from a bunch of different little bits of information that a user would feed it. Hey, I want to take a trip to this location for this many days. I mean, no different than what a GPT is going to do in this new GPT store. But
Uh-huh.
back in the day, it would just do that and put it in a nice markdown table, an itinerary format, and that just wowed a lot of people. I put fully realizing that, hey, some of these restaurants and locations may not exist at all. Like these may be hallucinations. So use at your own risk. But this it saved people maybe 70, 80 Google searches at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And then we
100%.
see Expedia and Travelocity rolling out these same tools right now. I just saw a commercial in the football games last weekend for Expedia's chatbot where it's just like, hey, I want to go someplace warm with my dog.
Yeah.
That same deal.
Okay, I gotta ask you because it's a question I'm obviously building in the AI space as well. I have a no-code AI app builder and marketplace that I'm
Yep.
currently working on. And so like I would be curious, based off of what you're seeing in this space, the consulting that you guys are doing over at Synthminds and how you're helping people work on, and also, your experience as a celebrity Flow GPT prompt
Yeah,
creator.
please.
Where do you predict, where do you see the market going? Is the market going to eventually just consolidate to where every software company is going to embed the AI into their platform like we're seeing with Expedia? Or is it going to be some sort of, place where people are grabbing prompts and doing it themselves on ChatGPT? Where do you see this going? Because I've heard both sides of this
Yeah.
debate and argument, but I'm
No,
curious
I
your
mean,
opinion
I,
on
I think the GPT store offers really the first touch point for a lot of people to interact with LLMs in a much more captivating way. I heard on your podcast this afternoon, and it was just resonated with me so much. Connor was talking about how the ChatGPT interface in and of itself is kind of intimidating for some people.
it.
It's like, hey, here's this box. It can do anything. Where do you start? For a lot
Yeah.
of people who aren't going to spend time, reading a dozen research papers a week and combing the annals of the internet for prompt engineering factoids and this, that, and the other thing, like me and my colleagues are, um, that's super intimidating. And then they might try that surface level, dip their toe in the water, not realizing how deep the rabbit hole goes. So kind of with that, you know, you're gonna have a lot of people that aren't going to really care, I think, about learning AI literacy, about learning prompt engineering, which is a problem. We should understand some of the limitations of these things. um,
Hmm.
but I think we're going to move into a world where it's going to be folks like who are building GPTs, folks like you, folks who have learned how to talk to AI, building prompts as a service, building these different type of platforms, and that's a natural stepping stone into foundational models by industry, which I know big companies like PwC are partnered with OpenAI, building the HR foundational model, the
Hmm.
operations foundational model. I mean, I think it's going to be to a point here next year, if we were to circle back, you're going to see people and stores and marketplaces emerging where you can sell your own model, kind of
Yeah.
like you would pick out a cell phone or a car,
Yeah.
and it can have different capabilities. Maybe it can use a blockchain cryptocurrency to buy and sell things online. Can do customer service interactions, multimodal. Uh, I think that's the natural progression of things. ultimately, I do not see the whole world becoming expert prompt engineers. They're going to interact with LLMs through apps, or through what some of the bigger companies have decided. Hey, this is what you want based on your input.
Hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, and I think right now we obviously have like, oh my gosh, ChatGPT and maybe Midjourney and maybe 11 Labs and like a handful of those other companies that are kind of like best in class in their vertical, being like the go-to. I think this is going to get fragmented, like you mentioned. There's going to be a GPT by industry. That's, people that have specific data sets. We're already starting to see this. Where like yesterday, Getty Images and iStock said,
Yeah,
"Hey, we're creating an image generator."
why not?
And it's like, yeah, because they have this custom data set that no one else has, no one else can touch. I guess OpenAI kind of trained some stuff on iStock, and there's like a lawsuit, so they got to pull it out
Well,
of
there's
the.
going to be a couple of those too.
Yeah, there's all that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, whoever has the data is going to build their own AI models. They see the value in there, and so there will be thousands of these. And I think that's for the better. The more fragmented, the better, because they'll be essentially more fine tuned for that specific use case, and so we'll have better
Absolutely.
quality outputs in those specific areas. I'm excited for it. Okay, Wes, something that's so fascinating about you that I'll be curious to dig into. You have a background working at the Navy. Tell me about like what got you into AI, what interested you in the first place, what role the Navy maybe and your
Yeah.
training there plays into all of this. Give us a little bit about your background.
Well, my background, literally my physical background didn't give away. I kind of into technology, just a little bit. So everything from like building computers, having LAN parties in friends' basements back in the day. That's where we would physically carry a computer this size and the monitors to a friend's house to network them together. Yes, kids, that's what us old timers used to do. But what really kind of got me to this AI pathway via the Navy is I've always wanted to kind of serve and contribute and give back in a lot of different ways. And it's been my life for 20 plus years now, as a supply corps officer in the Navy. But through that, I've gotten some of the best education in the world. Been trained on a lot of these AI systems and products, and hope to give back in a lot of different ways, through some work with some various naval entities, with some of my newfound AI knowledge. I kind of say I play the Batman Bruce Wayne role, but in reverse. During the day, I'm Batman in the uniform, going out there and kicking butt for our nation. But then at night, I put on the Bruce Wayne outfit and be an AI executive.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So, are you currently still working
Yeah.
in the Navy? Yes. Okay. Amazing. Holy smokes. How is that? And is there? I mean, I'm just like out of a curiosity perspective. Is there some sort of like rules about like what kinds of businesses you can work on the
Oh
side and
yeah,
like?
absolutely.
'Cause,
There's a
yeah.
whole bunch of different ethical considerations that I have to make and forms I have to file, but I've got a really supportive chain of command, and ultimately it's probably going to be of the benefit of the Navy with some of the things that hopefully I'm going to be able to help the Navy do, just from an education perspective, or a few other different projects that I hope to be involved with.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of friends being in the startup space. A lot of friends in startups that previously worked at like big companies. They wanted to do their own kind of thing. A lot of times, the company would find out and be like, "Hey, you can't work on your own thing," and then fire them or whatever. There's like all the falling out and all that kind of stuff. But I think that it's a big loss because they're working on things that could be beneficial for the company. And anyways, I know there's like all the IP and different things. So different companies have their own rules, and that makes sense,
Right.
whatever. But I think that's really cool from your experience that you still have the ability to continue working on this new project, and you're going to be able to bring so much value back to the Navy. And like, what an awesome way for the Navy to get that extra, that
I mean,
extra.
absolutely, because the fact is, we've kind of come about this in a very different way than a lot of startups, begin as. A lot of startups begin as an idea, and that gets cultivated, and they go out and find an audience or funding, or different team members to grow. I went out and just found a bunch of team members being like, hey, you guys seen this chat GPT thing? It's pretty badass, right? Like, what else can we do with it? And just through that, like, and kind of collecting and collaborating with people like my podcast co-host, Go to Go. She's got a wonderful 60,000 follower YouTube channel. My education lead, Joe Rosenbaum, he's got this Professor Synapse prompt. I don't know if that's popped across your radar every once in a while. It's just kind of your master key prompt. It's been viewed and shared way more than any of my stuff has. And he's just such an innovative thinker about that. I've kind of a bunch of us were together. We're reading papers, we're sharing information, and doing some different jobs here and there. And we're just like, hey, we want to, let's make a company. We don't know what this is yet, and let's see what it can be. One of the biggest windfalls I think we had was, I had myself listed on Upwork, just as freelance talent. Which, by the way, if your audience doesn't know, check out Upwork for AI talent. Like, it is top notch in terms of some of the people that are putting themselves out there, that even if you just need a quick consultation, want to talk to an expert, like, there's Fortune 50 companies that leverage that platform, and we work for some of them, to get some AI talent in there. But
I
yeah,
use
the
them for
biggest
everything.
yeah, the biggest windfall for us was, they said, hey, we like what you're doing in the AI space. We want you to be in the top 1%, on the enterprise expert vetted team. And oh, by the way, we're partnering with OpenAI. We want you to be one of the first 18 OpenAI experts listed on our platform. And I had to submit GitHub code repositories and do interviews with them. I was like, we're going to get kidnapped in our sleep, or this is going to be a really good thing for us. And it was. That really kind of shotgunned us out of a cannon to doing work with some Fortune 50 companies, Big Four accounting firms. I mean, like, the sky's the limit, and that's what I really also want to convey to your listeners. Like, I feel like I just was interested in the stuff and held on. Like, if you know
100%.
1% more than the other average person, that's still 100% more than they know. So, like, I mean, this is the amount of opportunity that is unlocked on a daily basis is just truly tremendous.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I gotta ask, right? You're in the top 1% on Upwork, so you're out and you're working with some Fortune 50 companies. You're doing some amazing things. What is one of the top most common misconceptions about AI that some of these people you consult or work with have?
I think um, the two things I think that are uh, the misconceptions. One, I touched on easy earlier. That's just the easy button. They can just ask it. There's some
Mm,
magical prompt or sequence of words that are just gonna build them a whole platform and do this and that and the other thing. Now, don't get me wrong, we are absolutely heading in that direction. I think
yeah,
if folks were to do that want to build, but maybe don't have that deep engineering or coding or mathematics background, like some of us have been exposed to, um, there's going to be a lot of possibilities unlocked, because you're going to have different agentic models uh, doing these little steps for you. You'll be, okay, here's my data cleaning model, here's my front end model, here's my back end model. And if you can teach yourself pseudocode, the right kind of instructions, you'll be able to get some tremendous results out of that. I mean, AI only gets better and cheaper. I mean, this is the worst it'll ever be. That's one of the
yep,
things I always say, and that
yep,
holds true every single day.
100%. Okay, what is one prediction you can make about AI going into the future? Let's say in the next 1 to 3 years, what are some of the biggest impacts you think AI will have?
I think one of the biggest impacts, and we're trying to do to get ahead of this at one of the companies I'm the fractional CTO of, called Morpheme AI. We're the only SAG and AFTRA approved AI voice synthesis studio right now. So
Okay.
one of the industries that is deeply threatened by AI voice models is the voice actor industry. Why wouldn't a company or a game developer just leverage these AI tools instead of paying an actor? Well, those AI tools were trained on real actors. So there's going to be this need for attribution. And then attribution also becomes verification. I think I saw a stat recently that there are more AI generated images than real images in the world now. Throughout all history of time, pictures, art, photography, there's more AI generated now. So since we've already kind of passed that threshold, um, very, very soon we're going to need all these different infrastructures to say, okay, what is real? What is actually a podcast coming from Jaden? Is it something that the blockchain is verifying that when I'm listening to it on the Spotify app, there's this little connection that happens? Or is it something that I can check? I can take the copy of this recording where it gets posted and run it through an analyzer and say, yep, this checks some box. We're already going to start seeing this in camera technology. I saw that Canon and Nikon are releasing their cameras with this new kind of thumbprinting technology. So when an image is taken in the metadata, it's some verifiable, like this is a real picture that someone took,
Interesting.
as opposed to generated. So I
Will
mean,
that be hackable though?
I think so. But one of the things about like a lot of blockchain tech is it's, at least right now, it's very kind of cost inefficient, cost prohibitive to kind of do
Uh-huh.
that. Like, I don't think people are going to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars to verify if this image was real or not. I mean, they could.
Right, right.
I mean, people are going to try to break this stuff, but um, I think that's going to be one of the things that is going to need to emerge because
Mhm.
as these things get better and better, I mean, it's so fascinating. Even just to see like Midjourney, the same prompt from like a year ago to now,
Yeah.
I mean, it is truly mind blowing. I mean, there's like Levi's jeans; they don't use human models anymore; all AI generated models. You know, so we're already here with
What? I
the
didn't realize that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. If you see a Levi's ad from now on, they have said, and like, look, they couch it under, hey, we want to be more inclusive and diverse with our advertisements. I'm like, you could do that with real people too, but we
Mm.
read between the lines here, you know
I
like,
love this spin. You know what? I gotta give it to them. I always love a good spin.
oh yeah, there's
Fascinating.
plenty of that in AI land. I mean, don't you love how every crypto and web3 company became an AI company overnight? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Bankrupt or an AI company. Those are your two paths forward to fundraising for
yeah.
sure. Okay, so that is fascinating and very exciting. You gave us a lot of juicy tidbits there. But one thing that I am curious about is what is something that perhaps you're worried about, concerned about? You put like a pin in the concern balloon
Hmm.
on AI and what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I couch myself as a cautious optimist.
Okay.
I definitely am all for the revolutionary and earth-shattering, game-changing possibilities of AI. I mean, I often say, like, when I'm teaching, my goal is to give that person that holy s moment where they're like, this changes everything with what you just showed
Yeah.
me. I just got so much time back, or possibilities, or be able to put more of their creativity into things. So
Yeah.
um, to that, I think one of the things that I'm concerned about is I I want to make sure that there is at least some measure of attribution that is going to be happening for
Yeah.
people in their content.
Hmm.
It's I think it's, we see these. I saw you cover the New York Times stuff that's going on right now with OpenAI. I think that's one thing where, of course, like, because you and I can read an article and have an idea about it and talk about it, and that's not copyright infringement. And
Hmm.
ostensibly, that's what a model is kind of doing. It's just the
Hmm.
for-profit piece.
Yeah.
But when it becomes to get really kind of slippery slope, I think, is when you're doing like art and image creation without that attribution. So, I mean, kind of the way I envision it is you have some sort of system. Again, I don't know if I want to build this. It's but it might be something that the times necessitate it. But you have some sort of system, kind of like Spotify, where if a model trains on your data, on your image, you get like a little streaming credit. You get a little check in the box. Hey, they scraped your information, and you're you're paid for it. You're attributed in
Hmm.
some capacity. I think that is at a minimum where we need to be, um, or at least, you know, I mean, it's tough. I'm sure you've covered some open source, closed source debates on here.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, right now, I'm very much a proponent of open source models. How did this stuff get trained? but at some point you do want to kind of lock it down. Like
Mm,
when you can say to a model like, "Hey, give me a business plan for a hot dog stand or hot dog restaurant," right? And
mhm.
it can not only give you the business plan, it can file the permits, it can hire the people, it can take out a loan for you. I mean, like, probably want to have some serious regulations on that so it's not, you know, total pandemonium.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. We got to make a lot of steps before we're at the point where it should be a little more of a closed ecosystem, at least in some capacities. That's been the best thing I think throughout this whole movement. You have so many people playing and building and experimenting with these technologies right now that, and then that's happening all in real time, and we're all connected to it because of the internet and social
Mhm.
media. And that didn't happen in the internet revolution or the social media revolution. That was the raw ingredients, but now we have the capabilities to to synthesize a lot of ideas and possibilities together.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, in regard to that though, I do got to get your opinion on this. I think this is going to be important and not enough people are perhaps talking about it. So you mentioned the New York Times and training on their data, yada yada. I think a lot of people are mad about OpenAI for what they did, scraping the whole internet and putting it into the model and whatever. And there's going to be court cases and litigation, and that's all gonna whatever happens happens. Okay, but my question is it short sighted to worry about or to talk about or to think about that issue in light of like the ability of synthetic data to be produced? Like, for example, Amazon, they wanted to train a palm reading scanner. So you walk into the Amazon Go, it scans your
Yep.
palm and it knows who you are. There's no database of, hands, of
Right.
hand pictures to train off. So they literally use something like Midjourney to generate a million images of
Yeah.
palms, trained it, and now it works on real human hands. Do you think, couldn't we, using like Wikipedia and some open source code repositories, things like that, couldn't we create enough synthetic data eventually? We get it so these models can create high fidelity synthetic data, and then that's just what's used to train, and all of a sudden it's like not scraped from anyone, and this whole attribution like issue is gone away with. Do
Yeah.
you see that in the future?
I think what's going to happen is it's not going to be this like wheel that, hey, for GPT-5 it needs to be retrained on all this stuff. It's
Uh-huh.
like, okay, we have these base foundation models that will be cornerstones for many years to come. Um, give these companies and these creators their due. As we grow on top of that, you'll have the opportunities to say opt out of training, or potentially eventually be attributed to it. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I think eventually, how do I phrase this? Yeah, I think the real thing. I totally lost my train of thought right there. But let's see.
Synthetic data, is it gonna
Synthetic data,
kill?
right. So that's right. That's where I was going to it. Synth. I should be on top of this type of thing. But the we don't want to discount throughout this process the creativity of the individual the at this point, because one thing that I don't think we've really experienced yet is what can happen when someone puts 100% of their creative self into, say, writing something or painting something or creating something. What I mean by that is, like, if I'm typing an article right now and I'm thinking about it and I'm kind of in that flow state, invariably, like, there is an energy expenditure of me moving my fingers, pressing the
Sure.
backspace button. Oh, I misspelled this. That, while not a huge thing, does take away from the possibilities of what just that full creative, mindset could pour into that. Now that AI affords us the ability to, like, kind of offload the commodity of execution, like, you execute, I will have all the ideas, I will
Hmm.
continue to iterate and work with you. You get that transcendence. So I want to see that play out a little more in the coming years, because I believe all these AI tools, they end up being an exponential to someone's natural talent and expertise. I can create a photorealistic image of a model, but I'm not a photographer. Someone that has that depth and breadth of experience that can talk about composition and lighting styles and how something should be framed, invariably can probably make a more captivating image if equipped with those type of tools. That's one of the
Hmm.
great things about AI. Everyone's perspective is valuable, because you bring that to the table, you put your expertise into it, and AI is just an exponential.
I love it. Wes, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. I love your perspectives on a lot of this stuff. If people want to find you, find more about what you're, find out more about what you're building and working on, what's the best place for them to do that?
Well, please drop by our website, Synthminds.AI. Check me out on LinkedIn, Shields-Wes, and also Synthminds, our page there. We have a couple different technologies that we use to help businesses get up and running. Neural Dreams is one of them. That's our RAG stack, our custom RAG stack in a SaaS platform, neuraldreams.ai. I mentioned Morpheme during the discussions. That's our voice studio. And then one that is going to be burgeoning on the scene here very soon. That's innovationai.com. That's our polymorphic multi-agentic orchestration framework. Yes, those are words. Um, that basically is a framework to allow companies to build an entire agentic organization, much like an org structure you would, and give it a task and say, you know, go to it. And it's self-evaluating. It can build new agents as it needs to. We're really, really excited about some of the possibilities that that's going to unlock. And then
So
also,
excited.
I mean, I got a lot going on. We got great courses on uplimit.com. Press that no code AI button. There's 5 courses on there that we do. Some of the ones coming up, I'm really excited about. We have 2 different data analytics courses that we're going to be doing, where I kind of intend to teach an entire data science master's degree without math and without code.
Wow.
And I'm going to be presenting this to the Informs conference in April as well. So, I mean, like, the possibilities that now we can equip a bunch of people with stuff that really only someone who went to graduate school or school for a lot of years could do in the past, is tremendously exciting to me. And then check out us on How to Talk to AI. That's our podcast, myself and Go to Goes. We've been on hiatus from the first season. Season 2's kicking off here real soon. But please look us up. Love to connect. We've got a great Discord channel. We're out there.
Amazing. Well, I'm super excited to start listening to the podcast. Make sure you follow William on LinkedIn, William Shields. I'll probably leave a link in the description to that as well so
Great.
people can find that. But yeah, phenomenal having you on today. To the listener, thank you so much for tuning in to the AI Chat podcast. Make sure to rate us wherever you get your podcasts and have a fantastic rest of your day.